Okay, this is all about setting up the file system, making sure that the images go in properly, and creating your cascading style sheets. So first of all, as we take a look at the web demo files, I have a folder that contains everything, two folders underneath of there, one in client files that has some of the pictures that may or may not be used. Notice that the names are not particularly descriptive. This is one that came straight from a web source. And a couple things are PSDs, which of course will not work. Likewise, there's some documents here, and I've used ones just in the text format. Sliding over to the working web, I have my pages properly named, and there are two, Goose and Jumbo, and the images all are properly named, all are JPEGs, all are in RGB format. So I have my images folder directly underneath of my working web, and all the images there, the pages are straight in the working web folder. So let's take a look at what these pages are looking like right now. First of all, and I will send everybody the zipped files with all of these files ready to go, but first on this Jumbo page, I have really kind of a neat story about this guy, but just some pictures placed in place. Everything is set out just as paragraphs, with the exception of this one Jumbo tribute. So pretty much standard all the way through. The Goose page again came right straight from the Statesman. I don't have any headings in here. Everything is just set up as a standard paragraphs. There's only one picture, and as you look at the image source, we've got the image source equals, and then in quotes, the name of the folder where the images can be found, source, or images in this case, then the / and the name. The width of the pictures and height are automatically included in there. So pretty much standard setup, nothing of a whole lot of excitement. So I'm going to come back over here to the Jumbo page and create a cascading style sheet that will change the H1. I'll probably change H2 just for the fun of it, and the paragraph, I'll set those up as an external style sheet. So first things first, in my CSS styles, I'm going to hit the new CSS button. I'm going to redefine a tag, and the tag that I'm going to redefine is P for paragraph, and instead of having it be defined in just this page, I want it to be a new style sheet so that it's going to be able to link to other pages as well. So hit OK, and I want to give this a name of files, or styles, I guess would make better sense. So the style sheet's ready to go. I want to change my paragraph style. Font family, there was a question earlier from Azrael that I didn't get to before the audio went out. Can you change the order that these fonts are presented in? The answer is absolutely. You just come down here and edit the font list, and if I want to move Comic Sans up, I can bring that up, and I can also add additional fonts to there. So if I wanted to have Dido, I just pop it in, and there it shows up. So we can move things in and out of these font lists at any time. Don't really want to use that one. I don't think it'd look good for this. So I will use more of a standard look, and I want this to be in the, starting with Palatino Linotype Book Antiqua. That one's going to work well. I would like to have my size turned up a bit. So I'm going to make this 14 point. 14 pixel gets really dang little. You got to be careful of that. So next I want to put in a color, and I think since this is from Africa, a real dark green ought to work for both of them. If I hit the apply button, we can see those things have changed. Font's a little bit small even yet, so I'm going to bump that up to 16, hit apply. Oh yeah, I think I'm going to like that a lot better. So I'll say OK on this one, and then the next thing I want to change is this H1. I want to make a change to this style, so I'll come for a new CSS rule, set a tag. H1 is still selected. I want to put this in the styles CSS, and I'm going to hit OK. The font, I think Comic Sans ought to be a fun thing for this one. I definitely want this to be big. I want it to be bold, maybe bolder. And for a color, I think this should be a dark blue. And I'll hit OK at this point. And yeah, I think that looks okay. I can live with that. So next I want to create another style for something I'm not even going to use here. So I'll create a new CSS style as a tag, and I will retag H2. And then I'm putting this in the CSS styles document again. I hit OK. And for the font family, I'm going to go the same way with the Comic Sans Cursive Didot. I'm going to change the font size to 14 and give it a color. That'll be a little bit of a different sort of a color, perhaps red. And hit OK. Doesn't make any change at all here because nothing has changed. Now I want to do a quick look. I'm going to do a file open, and here's my style sheet. So here's styles.css. I hit open, and just like we had before were some definitions. The only difference here is they are actually in a separate document rather than the start of the heading of the other document. So we've got these things set up, 24:4 border color. That's all going to work. So make sure I save those changes. Jumbo, save those changes, because I'm ready to move on to the next page and come over here to Goose. So the first thing, as I look up in the header of this, there is no font hooked in, no style sheet yet. So I'm going to come here to the Attach Style Sheet button, and then I'm going to browse into my working web, and there's my style sheet, styles.css. Choose and say OK, and all of a sudden those things come in, and I have applied the style from this style sheet to this page. And when I look up here at the top in the head of the document, it says, hey, link into the cascading style sheet and make this thing happen for me. So that works out pretty well. Now if I come to this line and say, well, I don't want this just to be a paragraph, I want to change this to the H2. That style comes right across. I think I'll do the same thing with this one, but just for the fun of it, I'll make this an H1. And that style comes across. Now, if I look at this and say, well, this H2 is too small, I can come into my CSS document. There's the H2 and it wants to go up to, I'll call it 20. And that comes in. I'll save the changes, come back here to Goose, and the change happens just that quickly. So that's cascading style sheets. You can redefine any tag using those.